Welcome to another session. Today we are going to learn infrastructure, which is chapter 8, part 1 of Economics ID. Let's have an overview as to what we are going to cover. First, we are going to give you the introduction about the infrastructure, relevance and state of infrastructure in India, and energy. So what is infrastructure? We very well know that infrastructure has played a very important role, be it any sector, whether it's industrial sector or agriculture sector or service sector. Infrastructure has been of a great support and it plays a major significant role. Now, when we say infrastructure, we are talking about the roads, railways, airports, dam, power station, gas pipeline, telecommunication, transport. It includes all these things. And it is only because of the infrastructure that all the things which are produced in the economy are able to reach the final consumer. So the country's educational system, even including schools and colleges and hospitals, all these are covered under infrastructure. Even our health system, that is hospitals, sanitary system, including safe and clean drinking water, the monetary system, including banks, insurance, all these are part of our infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, as I said, that it plays an important role in all these sectors, be it primary, secondary, or tertiary sector. We can divide this infrastructure into the two categories. Let's say economic infrastructure and social infrastructure. When we talk about economic infrastructure, we are talking about energy, transportation, and communication. And when we talk about social infrastructure, we are talking about education, health, and housing. I hope now you're clear with what is economic infrastructure and what is social infrastructure. Now let's understand the relevance of infrastructure. As I said, that infrastructure contributes to economic development of country in two ways. First, infrastructure helps to produce and increase the productivity of factor of production, and it also helps to improve the quality of life. The kind of standard of living which we are following in the present scenario, that is one of the positive impact of having good infrastructure. See at the workplace or at home or at school, we can see that infrastructure facilities are available. So all that are the positive impact of infrastructure. So infrastructure can contribute to economic development in two ways. One, by increasing the productivity of factor of production. And secondly, it also helps to improve the quality of life of the people. If there are inadequate infrastructure, then it can have multiple adverse effects. Now let's imagine that we don't have good infrastructure, we don't have proper roads, we don't have proper communication facilities, we don't have proper schools or colleges or hospitals. All these would have adverse impact on our life, on our health, and also on our standard of living. So improvement in this infrastructure helps the economy to grow and develop. Even improvement in water supply and sanitation, health, hygiene, they have a large impact by reducing the morbidity ratio. Now, when we say morbidity, it means proneness to fall ill. So a good infrastructure has reduced the ratio of morbidity. That is, now people don't fall ill much like how it was in the earlier days. So in addition to this, there is an obvious linkage between water and sanitation and health, and the quality of transport communication infrastructure can affect the access to the health care. So we can very clearly say that how relevant is infrastructure in our life. Let's study the state of infrastructure in India. It was found that government's investment in infrastructure was inadequate. Today, the private sector by itself and also in a joint partnership, be it with public sector, they have started playing an important role in infrastructure development. We can see that in the earlier days, it was the sole responsibility of the government to take care of infrastructure. But now the scenario is changing. Now, even the private organization, even the organization which are in joint partnership with the public sector, they have all started realizing the importance and development of infrastructure. And even the private sectors, they have started contributing in the development of infrastructure. From the statistical data, we can observe that India invests only 30% of its GDP on infrastructure, which is far below than that of China and Indonesia. In any country, as the income rises, the composition of infrastructure requirement changes significantly, because as your per capita or as your national income increases, it becomes important to also invest and increase the investment into infrastructure. Only then there can be development in the economy. So development of infrastructure and economic development, they both go hand in hand. Now, we very well know that agriculture depends on various factors, and to a considerable extent on the adequate expansion and development of irrigation facility or industrial progress. All these things depends on the development of power and electricity generation, also on transport and communication. If these facilities are not adequate, it would become very difficult for agricultural or industrial sector to survive and grow or expand. So if proper attention is not paid to the development of infrastructure, it is likely to happen, or it is likely to act as a severe constraint in the economic development, because lack of infrastructure can be an obstacle to growth of any economy. If we observe the state of infrastructure, as I had mentioned, that India is contributing hardly 30% investment into infrastructure. And as compared to the other country, we can observe that we have been investing very less, be it in the area of investment in infrastructure, or be it the percentage of people using safety, infrastructure, or even the mobile subscribers, even the consumption of energy. All these ratios are not up to the mark, and we have a far way to go. And in order to reach that development and growth, we need to improve our infrastructure first. When we talk about energy, energy is another important part of our infrastructure. There are commercial and non-commercial source of energy. When we say commercial source of energy, we are talking about coal, petrol, and electricity, because they are bought and sold into the market. And non-commercial sources of energy are fuel wood, agricultural waste, and dried dung. Now, these are non-commercial and they are found either in nature or in the forest. So I hope we have differentiated commercial and non-commercial source of energy. We can see that commercial source of energy are generally exhaustible, with the exception of hydropower, and non-commercial sources are generally renewable. More than 60% of our Indian household traditionally, for them, the source of energy is agricultural waste, dried dung. So they use all these material for regular cooking and heating needs. From this, we can find out that 60%, if they are relying on this, we have far way to grow and expand in terms of infrastructure. When we talk about non-conventional source of energy, both commercial and non-commercial, that is, be it coal, petrol, or be it firewood, or be it the waste, all these comprises of non-conventional. So both commercial and non-commercial source of energy are known as conventional source of energy. There are three other source of energy which are commonly used as non-conventional source, that is solar, wind, and tidal power. So solar energy, wind energy, and tidal power are the non-conventional sources. Now, being a tropical country, India has almost unlimited potential for producing all the three types of energy. And if we have proper and appropriate investment, and if we have appropriate cost effective technology, then we can improve the investment and growth in this sector. So even cheaper technology can be developed to make investment into these non-conventional sources. In India, commercial energy consumption makes up about 74% of the total energy consumption in India. And it includes coal and lignite with largest share of 74%, which is followed by oil at 10%, natural gas at 9%, hydro and other new and renewable energy at 7%. Now, when we're talking about coal, uh, I hope we all are aware that slowly the mining industry is going down because we have almost exhausted coal. When we talk about non-commercial energy sources, which consist of firewood, cow dung, or agricultural waste, it accounts for over 26% of the total energy consumption. So there has been a continuous fall in the share of transport sector, while the shares of household, agriculture, and others have been increasing. This is the table which shows the trends in the sectoral share of commercial energy consumption in terms of percentage. We can see the household, agriculture, industry, transport, and the others. And we can see that how household has been, with as compared to the agriculture and industries and transport industry. Now, when we talk about power and electricity, it is a very critical component of infrastructure because it determines the economic development of the country. That is why our Indian government, they have been trying to provide energy. They have also, started various programs. So women don't have to, in the villages, women don't have to cook using the waste or forest waste or using the firewood, because ultimately it's going to affect the health. So to take care of the health factor, to take care of the hygiene factor, and for the development, government has started various projects, and they have also, in the last few years, they have given the gas connection to many of the rural areas. So energy, power, electricity, all these have been very critical component of infrastructure. The economic development of the country depends on this, and the growth rate of demand of power is generally higher than the GDP growth rate. So in India in 2018, thermal sources accounted for 82% of the power generation capacity, and our hydel power accounted for 8.5%, whereas the nuclear power accounted only for 2.5%. So we can say that at present, nuclear energy is only 2.5% of the total energy consumption against the global average of 13%. This data itself shows that we are lacking behind a lot. Now, there are some challenges in the power sector. India's installed capacity to generate electricity is not sufficient to feed the high economic growth. And at present, India is able to add only 20,000 MW a year, and even the installed capacity is underutilized. We have various state electricity board which distributes electricity, and we have observed that it has incurred losses, and those losses have exceeded 20,000 crore. And that is why we can see a change that many of the states, they have started privatization in terms of electricity, like how in Gujarat, talking specifically about Ahmedabad earlier, which was taken care of by AEC. Now it's been given in the hands of Torrent. So some scholars also say that distribution of electricity to the farmer is the main reason for the losses. And electricity is also stolen in different areas. This is another second reason, because we have to provide the electricity to farmer in order to have the good productivity and at a subsidized rate. So another challenge is private sector power generation are yet to play their major role. It's slowly increasing. There are people who are investing into the private, private sector who are investing into this area. Just now I gave you the example of Ahmedabad, that is Torrent. So there is general public unrest due to high power tariff, that is charges, and prolonged power cuts in different parts of the country. And thermal power plants, which are, we can say, which are the mainstay of India's power sector, are facing shortage or scarcity of raw materials and coal supply. Just few moments back, I told you that there is a shortage and scarcity of coal because all the coal mines are, you know, exhausted almost. In the next session, we are going to cover about health infrastructure. Thank you very much.